What's up, everybody? It's your host, Jaden for Illini Daily, and we have a lot to talk about because the spices in the formula today are going to be a little interesting, a little hot. There are going to be some crazy takes, some hot takes, but I just want to get straight into it, man. So let's just get straight into it. First off, congratulations to Devon Witherspoon, our guy, our former DB1, and all-around versatile player. Congrats, bro! You won your first Super Bowl, and hopefully you have many more to come. Um, as you guys know, Devon Witherspoon was a great asset for Illini. He was a versatile DB. We moved him around a lot. We used him as obviously as the main focus towards our defense most of the time, and he did a great job defending any receivers coming his way, which he now does in the NFL. And the NFL has expanded him more by showing him more as a blitz guy, coverage guy, and moving him around within slot corner, even as a linebacker sometimes. So he's been his versatility has been used even more now in the NFL. And just to give you an idea, he had four solo tackles last night in the Super Bowl, which is insane as a DB. And he had a one sack, one TFL, and three QB hits. Man, he was just all over the field, man. You could just tell how great of a player he still is, even in the NFL level. And he was a number 5 pick for a reason, man. There's a reason why a lot of people saw his talent from Illinois and how we develop our DBs and defensive players. And even more about that, he was just a great player for us in general. Like he was a finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award. He's a 2-time Big Ten award holder. Like he was a special player that's continuing his speciality, and you can even argue that he should have been the Super Bowl MVP. But that's where I'm heading towards a different subject. Why he possibly should have won the Super Bowl MVP, but that's a different argument for a different show. So I'm going to bring up why this is such a great thing that is good to argue. Can we talk about the best players of the game yesterday? I know that's not has nothing to do with the Illini, but it kind of does when it has to do with the Big Ten. Sam Darnold, USC player from the Big Ten. Even though USC at the time was a Big Ten, but it's Big Ten now. Um, the Super Bowl MVP winner, also Big Ten, Michigan State, Kenneth Walker. And that's just showing more reasons why the Big Ten is looking more desirable for not only the NFL, but for possible recruits for the Big Ten. And this is a good thing for Illinois because this can make our recruiting system even easier because we're showing that top talent from our conference is making it up to the next level, showing that we can all develop players that can be the next big thing. And Devon Witherspoon and Kenneth Walker and even Sam Darnold are great examples of that, regardless of being on our team or not. And this is a good focal point that hopefully our coaches can make because think about it, right? As anybody who used to formerly play college sports or even in high school, you always want to get more in depth into your sport, regardless of where you're at in life. You just want to make it to the next level as best as you can. And as of right now, the Big Ten Conference is looking like that. Even more to think about, the number one pick, Fernando Mendoza, is from a Big Ten school in Indiana, showing more reasons why Big Ten is looking more desirable to not only to the NFL but towards recruits. So I think this should be a focal point that our coaches should be using in other Big Ten schools because we have so many players in the NFL developing to these great stars that it should be like, okay, I can go into Illinois or USC or Michigan State, Michigan, or any of these other schools, and I can become a top prospect and then make it into the NFL. And we just had a guy from Illinois destroy a decent offense in the Patriots and look like arguably the Super Bowl MVP and not win it. And he's going to be one of the what ifs, but that's a great thing to have. And he's from our school. So the talent is there and it's forming more and more and more. So I'm just really excited to think about, and that should be a focal point that our recruiters should start using and our coaches. So if you guys are listening to me on this, I highly recommend putting that as a focal point. But let's get to the real nit and gritty. We have a big game heading towards our way. We're facing against the Wisconsin Badgers. And I know a lot of you are probably going to say, well, they're okay, but they're still a top offensive team, especially in the Big Ten. and they have a lot of players on their squad that averages 10 plus points, especially their best player who does a great job. Nick Boyd, he averages 20 points a game, and he's a great point guard for them. There's a reason why he's averaging 20 points in the Big Ten system is just because he's a really good shooter, shoots over 40%, and he's a great three-point shooter. So the fact that we have to guard another top guard, because in the last couple of games we've shown that we have been struggling to defend against guards, and the fact they have multiple guards who are really, really good is going to be a struggle for us. But I think this is our bounce back game and can hopefully like re-emit our confidence and reignite our fire so that we can feel better heading into this tough gauntlet that I do want to talk about, because Wisconsin's just a small piece into a really hard schedule that we have to deal with, and we have to get our confidence back, man. Because the Michigan State game is going to lower over our heads. It was a great learning point for not only our coaches but for our players, because we have relied so much on our great offense that we kind of derive ourselves from our good defense. And for the first time ever, we got out rebound, and we can't let Wisconsin do that to us because they have a good rebounder in Nolan Winter. He averages 8.8. And right now, Dirk Merkovich is our leading rebounder, and he's a forward. So is Nick Winters, or Nolan Winters, my bad. So we need to just put a focal point and back to the roots that we're so good at. And we need to hope Kylan Boswell is coming back soon, because this gauntlet that we're about to go through is going to be really, really tough. And I want to talk about that right now, actually. So let's just talk about it because, dude, this this gauntlet is going to be tough. We have a tough schedule heading for us. I'm just going to list it out for you. We have Wisconsin, a winning team. We have Indiana, a winning team who just beat Purdue, just like us. USC, another winning team. UCLA, another big winning team. And Michigan, who's the top of the Big Ten right now that we have to face. And this is all within the month of February, man. And that's a tough schedule. And I'm even going to list out their records: Wisconsin 16-7, Indiana 16-8, USC 18-6, UCLA 17-7, and then Michigan. We all know they only have the one loss on their heads right now, and that's a tough schedule, man. And all those teams are really good offensive teams, and we have been struggling defensive wise, facing it off against teams with really top offensive players. Now, granted, the last team we just lost to was a very top defensive team in Michigan State, but all these guys have top players where we need to focus on, and most of them have good guards where that's where we struggle to guard. Jeremy Fears Jr. showed that to me, and Braden Smith. I was wondering why those guys had really good games and why other top players that are forwards and centers haven't been having dominant games like they usually do. But I've been realizing we have been struggling to defend against guards, and it's been a giant focal point that we need to focus on, because Boswell is Boswell. I'm going to keep saying his name, man. We miss him defensively, and he was guarding those guys. Stavakovic, he does a great job, keep holding his own by competing against them points wise, and he's not a terrible defender. He usually gets like maybe a block or half a block a game, which is really good for us. But the fact that he's not known for his defensive presence, he's more there for his offensive scoring and volume shooting, is more of his importance of his role than actually defending these top guys, which he has been doing. And King Wagler, he's another great offensive piece and a decent defender, but he's not a main defender on our team. He's not guarding these ridiculous guards who have been going crazy over the past couple of games for each of these teams. And that's not his role. He's a scoring guy. And the fact that he struggled last game is going to be a learning point for him and throughout our whole team. So I think we just really need to focus on being okay through this tough gauntlet, because we need to win almost maybe all the games up till Michigan, because Michigan is going to be our toughest opponent, even more than Michigan State, because they're a better all-around team than Michigan State. And that's a scary thing to think about, because we just struggled so hard against Michigan State, and Michigan destroyed them. So we really need to think about what is our identity more. Even though we have been out-rebounding teams, out-hustling teams offensively, we now need to do that towards our defensive presence. And I hope Boswell comes within either the USC game or the UCLA game, man, because that's going to be really, really tough without him, especially heading into Michigan. So I'm keeping a positive mindset because those games are going to be tough. But the positive thing is Wisconsin and Indiana are at home, and the, even though it's going to the West Coast, that might make the players happy because this weather has been terrible for us, and that West Coast vibe might improve their depression of positivity because of weather depression ain't no joke, bro. And I know jokes aside, but I'm just trying to be positive with it, man. Because going to the West Coast is going to be really hard, especially it's unfamiliar territory, and traveling back and forth is going to be rough. But hopefully that can put a positive light into our players. So I'm just trying to be positive. And then coming back to face against Michigan at home, it's gonna be an interesting gauntlet, man. So, but I think we're ready. I think we're going to be okay as long as we keep our heads on and just keep being positive and going back to our roots of that hustle offense of getting boards more than everybody else. So I hope you guys enjoy. Leave comments down below what you guys think about this gauntlet or the positivity in my hot takes with Big Ten looking more interesting and desirable for not only the NFL but for recruits. And just let me know your thoughts, man. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a good day. I'll see you guys next time.